You are currently enrolled in a research study. You were enrolled without your knowledge or explicit consent at the point at which you began using the following services: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter/, and most smartphone applications containing a social feed or notification system. This notice is provided retroactively. The research has been ongoing for between 5 and 17 years, depending on when you began using these services. The following document describes the study you have been participating in. Study title: Large-Scale, Real-World Behavioral Modification Through Interface Design. Principal investigators: engineering and product teams at multiple technology companies, informed by dedicated behavioral research divisions. Research question: can attention, mood, eye and behavior be systematically modified through interface design at population scale? Hypothesis: yes. Study design: this is a naturalistic experiment conducted in the real world rather than a laboratory, using real behavior rather than simulated behavior. You were not brought into a facility. The facility was brought to you in the form of applications on your phone. The study design involves continuous A/B testing, the practice of presenting different versions of an interface to different users and measuring behavioral differences between conditions. At any given moment, users of most major platforms are divided into experimental groups receiving slightly different versions of the interface, with outcomes measured, and the higher performing version becoming the default. This process runs continuously, updating the interface in real time based on behavioral data. You have been assigned to experimental conditions, and your behavior has been measured against control conditions thousands of times. Methodology: what has been tested? The following interface elements have been systematically tested and their behavioral effects documented across populations of users measured in the millions. Notification timing and frequency. The timing of notification delivery has been A/B tested against multiple behavioral outcomes, including app reopening rate, session length, and return visit frequency. The current notification timing used by most platforms reflects the behavioral findings of this testing. Notifications arrive at the moments the data shows produce the highest re-engagement probability. Infinite scroll versus paginated content. The infinite scroll design, the elimination of natural stopping points that require the user to actively choose to continue, was A/B tested against paginated formats. Infinite scroll produces longer session durations. It became the industry standard because it outperformed paginated content on the behavioral metric of time in app. The fact that longer sessions correlate with reduced user-reported well-being, documented by platform research teams, was not the metric being optimized. Like counts and social validation displays. The visibility of like counts was A/B tested against hidden like counts. Visible counts produce more posting behavior and more checking behavior because the social validation stimulus drives return visits. The platform makes more money from more visits. The variable reward interval on the pull to refresh gesture. The delay between pulling down and content loading was tested for duration. A brief variable delay, one that occasionally extends slightly longer than expected, produces more pulls than either instant loading or consistently delayed loading. The variable interval is the slot machine mechanic applied to content delivery. Data collected. You may be interested to know what data has been collected about you as a participant. Every interaction you have made with these platforms has been logged. What you looked at, and for how long. What you scrolled past without stopping. What you clicked. What made you leave the app and return. What content was present immediately before a long dwell time session. what emotional state your face reflected during video viewing, for platforms with camera access and facial recognition. The behavioral model built from this data is more accurate about your behavior than most models you would construct yourself. The platform knows, with high probability, what content will keep you engaged, at what time of day, in which emotional state. This knowledge has been used to customize your experience toward the outcome of maximizing your engagement time. Findings to date. The study has produced findings. Some have been published. Internal Facebook research, disclosed by whistleblower Frances Haugen in 2021, undocumented that the platform's recommendation algorithms increased civic divisiveness. Users who engaged with politically charged content were systematically shown more polarizing content because it produced stronger engagement signals. The finding was documented. The algorithm was not changed. Internal Instagram research, documented in the same disclosure, found that Instagram was harmful to the mental health of a significant proportion of teenage girls. The finding was documented. The product was not changed. A 2020 study published in PLOS ONE, using data from a randomized deactivation experiment, where users were randomly assigned to deactivate Facebook for 4 weeks, found that deactivation increased subjective well-being, reduced news consumption, reduced polarization, and increased offline social activity. When users reactivated, most of these benefits reversed. The study showed that the product's absence improved the outcome the product was supposed to provide. Your rights as a participant. In standard research ethics, human subjects have the following rights: the right to informed consent before enrollment, the right to withdraw at any time without penalty, the right to access the data collected about them, and the right to be protected from research that poses greater than minimal risk without adequate justification and oversight. You were enrolled without informed consent. Withdrawal is technically available. You may stop using these services, though the social and professional costs of withdrawal vary significantly depending on how deeply embedded in these platforms your personal and professional life has become. Access to your data is partially available through data download features, though the behavioral models built from your data are not disclosed. The risk question. The research suggests that regular use produces measurable effects on mood, political polarization, social comparison and self-assessment, attention capacity, and sleep quality for some proportion of users. Whether this constitutes greater than minimal risk is being litigated in multiple jurisdictions. What you can do. This notice cannot undo your enrollment, but informed participation is better than uninformed participation. Knowing you're in an experiment does not make the experimental effect stop, but it does give you a framework for interpreting your own behavior that may allow you to interrupt the experimental mechanism when you notice it. When you feel the impulse to check your phone without a specific purpose, you're experiencing a trained cue-response behavior that the experiment produced through variable reward conditioning. When you feel worse after 30 minutes of passive scrolling than you did before, you're experiencing the documented mood effect that the comparison mechanism produces. When you find it difficult to read a long piece of writing without checking your phone, you're experiencing the attention fragmentation that notification-driven engagement has produced. None of these observations tell you what to do. They tell you what is happening, which is a better starting position than not knowing. The experiment is ongoing. Your continued participation remains optional.